Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, sponsored by Premier Lending. I'm Devin Dubuque.
And I'm Coach Rick Koenig.
And we're here to share actionable strategies and proven insights to help loan officers thrive in today's market. So today, Coach, we left off last week talking about the why. And I think we hinted around that we're going to walk through a success plan on how to get in touch with high-profile real estate agents and build meaningful relationships. What do you know about that?
Just a little. Depending on how many years you've been in the business, there's been coaches, all the way back to the 80s that, are still around, some of them,
Yeah.
and when you look at the coaching companies that are out there and the different coaches that are out there, everything does come back to one thing. Everything does come back to the fact that you have to get traffic in your doors. You have to establish relationships with people to send that traffic to you. You got to close the sale, and you got to continually be doing follow-up. It's like the 4 parts of the sale.
Yeah.
And the relationship one is absolutely the most important. And there are people out there that talk about, oh, you don't have to do cold calls. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. You can buy this. The internet will do that. You and I have both seen numbers, and I don't have numbers in front of me right now, but we know that close to 60% of all referrals come from either real estate agents or past client database.
Yeah.
And those agents that we're trying to get business from, you do have to build that relationship. Now, there's different ways of doing it. Some people say, oh, you don't want to make a cold call.
Well, let me cut you real quick there, because I know where you're going with this, and I want to go there. But before we pick up on that, going back to talking about the technology and all the different things that you can utilize today to potentially enhance your business, it's exactly that. It's an enhancement, right? We're not saying that you don't want to use some of the tech tools that are out there, to enhance your business. But when it comes to actually diving in and building a meaningful relationship, social media and paid leads, that's not going to build a relationship. And that's what we're looking at here, is how do we build meaningful relationships with agents so that they can come back to us time and time again. So go back to that thought where you left off. But I just wanted to cover that in there just to make sure you don't tune out and go, wait a minute, these guys are going to tell me that it doesn't work. Some of this stuff works, right?
A lot of this stuff.
But it's a compliment
out there.
Yeah, but it's a compliment.
A lot of those tools you utilize after you have a relationship, or you can utilize like the social media. You can comment on people's stuff. You can start to get to know them a little bit, through the social media if you're doing it properly. You can't just like everything they do. You have to actually go in, comment, use 4, 5, 6, 7 words so that it picks it up and they notice what you're doing. And
Absolutely.
Maybe the cold call's not so cold. But eventually,
that's it.
Yeah,
you're warming them up.
You got to pick that phone up and talk to these agents.
The good old-fashioned phone is always going to be the one that gets it done. And maybe it's not just the phone. It's also some face-to-faces, but face-to-faces with the right people.
Right. And we've talked about that over the last couple weeks of having, top producing agents as the people you want to do business with. You want those people that are doing 8 or 10 minimum a year or more. And,
so let's start there. How do you find those people? How do you find agents doing 8 or 10 a year? I see the agent out there, they're posting all kinds of stuff. Is that the way to do it? Just base it off of what they're posting?
Now there's free sources and there's paid sources. So your free sources are, you can go into Zillow, you can go into realtor.com, you can go into different systems, you can look and see what realtors are utilizing those services. You can see what I like to go in and look at is how many reviews they have. Go in and look at the reviews. You see an agent with Zillow and they've got 350 reviews. I think I want to look a little deeper into that person, and a lot of times you can find out whether it's them or if they're part of the team or they are the leader of the team. And sometimes you can go directly after that person or go after their minions that are below them that are building their business. Then there are another free way is go to your title company. A lot of times title companies have access to the NMLS. They can pull you a list of all the business that agents are doing. Sometimes they can only tell you the agents that they're doing. Or if you have a friend who's an agent who can pull it directly from the MLS for you, those are the free ways. There are different systems out there. The one that you and I are utilizing the most right now is called Retter, RETR.
Our buddies
Retter.
over there at Redder, Scott Hudspeth and
Yep.
Stephen Wyans, CEO, those guys are great. And at the end of the day, there's plenty of sources. We like Redder a lot because of the quality of the data, how easy it is to access, right? And how easy it is to get it directly into your database system with a lot of quick features to get in front of, the Facebook pages, the YouTube pages, to get to know them really quick. But Redder's one. I think MMI is another. MyMTA is another, right? So you got to pick the source that works best for you. But the reality is, we just want that data, right? We want that data of who should I be connecting with to build that meaningful relationship. Because let's be honest, Coach, we can build a meaningful relationship with an agent that's closing 2 loans a year. But what can we really expect to come out of that, right? If they're doing 2 loans a year, even if they're in their best position, maybe we get one of those because that client may want to go with somebody that they already chose. Maybe the client just didn't get along with you, right? Maybe they didn't connect with you well. So if they're doing 1 to 2 a year, that's not going to be a great way to move the needle. But if we're talking agents that are in 8, 10, 12, 20, 30, 40, well, now we know that they have some business to share with us. And if we're building a meaningful relationship with them, right, that they're bringing something to the table, and we're going to bring something to the table too, right?
Yep. And on those CRMs and stuff, or not the CRMs, but on those search engines, if you don't want to pay for like a year-long contract or something, we have one other friend, Richard Smith,
Oh,
Qualified
yes.
Agent List, that you can look up. A lot of our friends have used Qualified Agent List over the years, and Richard will get you 1,000 to 1,500 people. He'll even split markets and do some things. So that's how you find
I
them.
love that you gave a shout out to Richard. And hey, John, if you don't mind, put a couple plugs in there for Redder and Richard Smith. When you drop this thing out there for the folks that are listening, that way, if they're trying to find how do I get this data, well, let's get it. Let's make it really easy for them, right? Let's make it really easy for them. So we get this list, and we've got the data of the agents. We know who to contact now, right? But how do we go about it, right? How do we get in front of them?
I like to look at, I like to know who I'm calling, whether I'm calling agents or doing what I do, doing recruiting. I don't think you can call somebody else up just out of the blue and try to form a relationship and get a meeting with them. You have to look at their numbers. You have to know a little bit about them. You have to do some homework. So, I say get your list of 30 to 40 agents.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing a ton of business and you're new to the business and you've got time to call agents every day, then get 2 or 3 lists of 30 or 40 agents.
Absolutely.
And make them your target, 2, 3, 4 days a week, whatever it takes. And when you look before you call them, take a quick glance at their numbers, know where they're at, because you don't want to call somebody up and say, "Hey, I see you're doing great," and the data is 6 months old or 4 months old that you looked at, and they haven't sold a house in 5 months.
And they're feeling down on themselves. And they're like, what do you mean I'm great?
Back from a stroke, I mean, you just don't want to look like you got your foot in your mouth. So look them up, see that they're active currently, see what their numbers are, and then call them up. And the best thing to do is just be, actually pretty bluntly honest with them.
Yeah.
Hey, Devin, this is Coach Rick Koenig. How are you doing today? Hey, I was looking at your numbers, and you are absolutely doing fantastic in this industry right now compared to most of the people out there. I love to be associated with successful people. I'm kind of a student of success, and I'd love the opportunity to get 15 minutes of your time to learn about what you're doing to be successful right now. Think you
Yeah,
can
but
help me out?
Coach, they already have other lenders they work with. So, they're just going to tell me they're working with somebody and hang up the phone.
Oh, geez, Devin, I would expect somebody at your level to have multiple lenders, and I'm not looking to replace any of those lenders right now, but I would like the opportunity to learn, from you what you're doing and even what lenders are doing to help you be so successful right now. What are they doing? I want to be the quality and at the level that those lenders are, if
Yeah.
I'm not already, that somebody I can be part of somebody's team like you.
I strive for excellence. And when I see somebody like you out there doing great things, I want to connect with you because I want to learn from the best. I found that it only makes me better. And that's why I want to get a few minutes of your time. I know you've got great lenders. I don't want to cut up those relationships. I know that you probably love the folks that you're doing business with, right? But, if we get to know each other and a contract comes across your desk and you see my name on it, you know who I am now, and you're not going to push it to the side and turn down that offer. How about Tuesday, right? How's Tuesday sound? Let's catch up and have a conversation and, just learn a little bit about each other. I really am intrigued because I love what makes people like you, people that are doing what you're doing out there tick, right? Like, why are you doing it? So,
Yeah. And what's funny is you and I said virtually the same thing. It's that neurolinguistics. There's certain words that these
yeah,
people hear that we're utilizing in both those speeches. And the people out there that are listening to these things, a lot of times they go, "Oh my gosh, you guys are so smooth, but you have it memorized. You got it down." Man, when I started out, I had stuff plastered all over my
that's
wall
right.
right behind my laptop. I had all my scripts printed out, and I would just go from script to script, and I would try to sound like I wasn't reading the scripts. You
That's
know,
it. Well, and that's the thing is that you're going to be bad at the beginning, and it's funny. I hear a lot of people too. They go, well, yeah, look, I don't want to call the best agents if I suck. Right. Like I want to call the lower tier agents if I suck. And, I don't think that's a great philosophy either, because one of the things you got to remember is every great agent started off at the bottom, just like all of us. Right. So at the end of the day, they sucked at one point in time too. And I think if anything, you use that as an opportunity to be wholeheartedly with them. Like, hey, what, that didn't come across so great. Can I restart? Right.
Hey, how about you and I have heard that story before by
Yeah.
some of the best out there where,
Yeah.
the guy's doing his intro and he goes, "Oh my goodness, that was horrible. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call you back tomorrow. Is that okay?"
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Boom, calls him back the next day and nails it. It just
Yeah. Let's
stuff like that
restart.
happens. It makes you human, and that's what,
You're not a robo dialer. You're not in a call center just
no,
randomly calling up
no.
agents trying to get it. No, we want to build meaningful, connected relationships. And we mess up, and it's okay. We fall on the sword, and we just get back up and try again, right?
And we've got scripts for the objections and what the rebuttals are. But the big thing is, even if you're on that preliminary call that you're just trying to set that first meeting up,
Yeah.
you can start doing what everybody calls frogging, talking about, people, family, recreation, occupation, and goals, just
Yeah.
frogging them, learn about them, ask them questions. The more you ask them about themselves, the more they're going to tell you, and the more likely they are to go ahead and meet you.
Well, I've got that leapfrog technique, and I think it's always a great one. So if they're like, hey, I got 15 minutes right now. Let's do an appointment now, right? Well, cool. Well, let's get to know each other a little bit. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Hey, so, when you go on vacation, coach, do you prefer to go to, the beach? Do you like to go to the mountains? Do you like to do more international travel? Like, what's your gig?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
You don't have to go straight into, are you a buyer or seller agent?
that's it.
Or, how long have you been an agent in the area? Hopefully you did your homework. You don't need to ask those kind of questions.
No. Well,
I know one of your buddies loves to ask, what style pizza do you like?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm always like,
exactly.
what? That's one of your questions that you ask them. It's like, yeah, man, it
It's a
breaks
good
the
one
ice.
though, because it's
So,
like, oh well, for me, it's going to be sausage, peppers, and mushrooms. That's what I like. Right now, I know a little bit about you. I might jot that down and send you a little gift. A pizza on me. Just to let you know that I was paying attention. Right. And then I always like to lead into you because you can make up those questions. I like to do two real simple ones that are kind of fun, like good book or good movie. That's another one I like to use. And then the last one, right before you really kind of get into the meat of things. So, Rick, let me ask you a question. You're a rock star. But at some point in time, you were a rookie just getting started, if you took that time machine back to when you were just getting started in the industry and you connected with something and you said, man, this is it. Like, this is the industry for me. What was that moment that you remember that you were like, I'm going to be a realtor. Like, this is going to be the career I'm in for a long time. Right.
well, yeah, and that goes back kind of like to what we were talking about last week, figuring out their why, getting their
Yeah.
origin story.
There it
And
is.
whether it's, the actual talking about your why and getting theirs, or it's the frogging and getting down by asking some questions to their whys, and you almost force them to tell you, but they want to tell their story.
That's it.
It's almost like A Few Good Men. He wanted him to say it. He was going to get him to say it. He knew he wanted to say it. They love telling you about their successes. They love the fact that you're going to ask them. And if you
It's a
start
journey.
building that relationship,
Yeah.
with the why and the frog combined, man, you're doing you're doing well.
So, I know we can't talk about, all this today, but, I think what we can kind of leave this with is, we now know how to start getting to know the agent. We now know the why. We know we need to look for qualified information to make sure that we're getting in touch with the right people. I think what we really need to kind of follow back up on the next Coach's Corner is the frequency, right? How many times should I be contacting these people before it's too much, right? And, how do I know what to do once I've had that conversation to ask for the business and to try to develop that relationship further? So I think we're probably at a good stopping point today on developing the connection points. But we're going to further this discussion and just kind of continue down that lane of how do you build this successful relationship with somebody that you didn't know before, right? And do it in a frame to where it's not about price or product or, all the things that most people think are the most important. It's about building a relationship with somebody that we want to work with and do life with and do business with long term. That's what really moves the needle. And it's not a short-term plan, right? This isn't something that's going to happen and you're going to turn around tomorrow. You can. We've seen it, right? Mm-hmm. It can if you make the right connection. But this is a long-term plan. It takes 2, 3, 4, 5 months to really start to build meaningful relationships. But as you do, you watch your production go from here to here to here. And all of a sudden you're crushing it, and your friends and peers in the industry are looking at you going, how are you doing this?
It goes from incremental increases to exponential. I mean, and there's a point where, if you're following the business model and you're doing all the right steps, that as the leads are coming in and you're adding and you're adding and you're adding to where it just hits that number where it can shoot up. We've
Boom.
seen people go from 5 to 12 and 7
changing
to
your life
16. I mean, it's crazy, but it took 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and we've got a chart that we're able to do with them that can show them, here's how many agents you need, here's what the typical referral that you get from them, here's how many of those referrals you'll app, here's how many referrals that'll actually go to contract, and you and I both know probably 1 out of every 4 or 5 deals go, referrals do go into a deal nowadays. So
that's it.
How many of those referrals do we need? We can talk about that on another show.
I love it. Well, guys and gals, we appreciate you stopping into the Coach's Corner, and hey, we hope you keep coming back, right? Make sure to comment if you've got questions, if there's anything that you need to know, or even if you want to book some time with Coach or myself, we'll put the links down there in the Calendly so you can just jump right on the schedule and get some information about how to really boost your business and build a successful model in 2025. But I think until the next one, Coach, I think, does that wrap us up for today?
I think that wraps us up, and we're going to talk about frequency the next time.
I love it. Frequency it is. Well, I'm Devin Dubuque.
And I'm Coach Rick.
We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.